Hi, it's Joey Reynolds. Somebody called me handsome the other day. Violated all of my principles. Am I showing a little cleavage? You're supposed to button up now, you know. No cleavage for men. Women, it was always good to have a little cleavage. You know, you would have some place to keep your money when you were a woman. Well, I told you that when we go to the moon, they're going to find out the moon is a lady and not a man. The man in the moon is the woman in the moon. And boy, was I right. Because all of a sudden they're getting fussy about the trip. And you know already this is a women's world. We're moving into that. They're counting on women to vote for all of these issues because the Supreme Court has decided that you can't have an abortion in certain states, and states are following suit. And so the women are pissed off, and they're going to go out and vote for the Democrats. That's what I'm told. I don't know what a Democrat is anymore. I know what a democracy is. Which one's the elephant? Which one's the donkey? They both have asses involved. I don't know. They ought to have an old goats party and put all the wise guys together, you know, or the owls. Yeah, that's it. The owls. This is the owl party. This is the guys who know everything, you know, you're like Yoda. Who else is wise? Well, I know wise guys, but wise, wisdom, to know the difference. Who has that? Don't look at me. I'm still working on it. I'm watching The View, and I'm wondering, I don't like The View. I think I'm going to put a shade on it, or some Venetian blinds. Remember those words, Venetian blinds? Nobody calls them that anymore. But you know, they have a different kind of view. It looks like Whoopi. You know, I love Whoopi. She's great. I had the helicopter go down in 1986 on WNBC in New York when I was on NBC. And I was on the air when Jane Dornacker went down, and she was good friends with Whoopi and with Robin Williams and Billy Crystal, because they all were on television raising money for different causes. It was hunger at that time, I believe. But it looks like Whoopi's over the hunger part. The Hunger Game has taken over. I mean, come on. I noticed that she must have eaten something big. I don't see Barbara Streisand. I don't see Barbara Walters anymore. I don't see Barbara Streisand either. I don't know. I just laughing on everything. What are you going to do? You know, you got to laugh at something because everything is so ridiculous. You can't really believe that Cheerios should be $5 a box. You know, I mean, there was a throwaway food, Cheerios and peanut butter and sandwiches, Wonder Bread. You know, it was like 25 cents a loaf. You buy Wonder Bread, and you buy peanut butter, and you buy jelly, and you have a little something to drink. Like no Gatorade, nobody could afford that. You know, we're drinking Kool-Aid. Now there's no such thing as a bargain. No, they call it that, but it's not. They raise the price, and then they tell you you use a coupon. So you use a coupon, and it's back down to where it was before they raised it. You know the game. That's what they do. When they move things on the shelves and whatever they want to get rid of really quick, they call it a clearance. They do that with clothing too. You know, it's clearance. We call it Goodwill. Clearance is forget Marshalls and all these wonderful stores that are air conditioned and have pretty boutique decorations. The Goodwill, Salvation Army. But you know what? The Goodwill has become now like Macy's. And they wouldn't take my furniture. I got stuff in storage. I want to give them to Salvation Army. They wouldn't take it unless it was pedigreed, unless it had a purchase order on it or something. You know, they want to know that it's authentic. It's a real piece of furniture. Look, I bought it as an antique, and now I'm an antique. I got older than the furniture. The furniture is more disposable than I am, but nobody wants it. And nobody wants me either. Actually, I don't want to feel sorry for myself, but you know, they put me out to pasture. It was too soon for me to leave because I still have a mouth on me, you know. They're going to bury me. My mouth is still going to be moving. But it's okay. I don't do a talk show like everybody else does, which is to argue about politics. I don't want to answer the phones. Nobody wants to answer the phones. I want to text. I want a bottom line. I want it over fast, like this thing here. This has gone on too long already. What are we, 4 minutes into it? And I haven't said anything important. But I haven't said anything I want to hear, let alone what you want to hear. See, I use this as a sounding board for myself. I wonder what I think. So when I do this, this is my exercise. So I don't have to see a therapist and go to the 12-step meetings, although I do that too. But I believe that I say the things that I have on my mind and the dreams that I have, and I keep moving forward and marching on like everything is going to be new again, which it is. I started an organization. It's called New Clear Thinking. It's a nuclear age, and I want to have new clear thinking, and I've been presenting that. I got my cheesecake coming out again. Why? It's born again. It was raised in church. That's how I first made it, when the kids were going to church, and I had nothing to bring to the potluck except pot. That's not what they meant. So I got this cheesecake I made. It was actually supposed to be a key lime pie, but I was out of ingredients, so I used the stuff that we had in the fridge because the kids were asleep, and I didn't want to go to the store and leave them alone. Good parenting 101. I learned that one a long time ago. And you better put a fence around the pool, and also remember we have alligators in Florida. So this is it. You gotta just take it easy. And when you have a high rise in New York, you better have a screen on the deck outside, or that kid's going to go overboard. That's the fear you have, because kids don't think. They think that they are immortal. But so do us. I'm an older guy, and I think I'm immortal. I don't know when I'm going. I don't know the exit plan, and I don't know when I'm leaving. But I don't think I'm going pretty soon, because I don't want to. I haven't made enough money yet. I haven't reached my quota. I haven't made my goal. I want to make another. Let's see. Let's put in the dollar value. I want to have what the Kardashians have. Freedom, money, stupidity. You see where they're watering the lawn, and you're not supposed to in Calabasas? Do you know that I was the first house in Park Granada in Calabasas? I had that vision. Why? I'll tell you why. Because it was cheap, number one. Number two, it was down the street from the retired motion picture home where Tonto and all the other old stars at the time were. And across the street was a Sagebrush Cantina on a dirt road. And we had a little museum there. And right across the road was the pet cemetery where they used to bury pets. They had to exhume them because the property became so valuable. John Davidson, do you remember him? He was on television a lot. He had horses on a hill. I don't know. He should have done camels, because the horses were hunched like this. Sounds like a Jackie Mason. I had hunchback horses. I should have had camels. But John Davidson, big star at the time. He was a very handsome and well known. We had a lot of hunks back in those days. They're hunkered down now. A lot of them are gone, and some of them don't look like they used to. I don't want to start mentioning names, but how about me? Nobody looks like they did. I was a big fat ass at one time, and I lost the weight, and I never got it back because I did about 28 years of Bikram yoga, which is a hot yoga for about a year and hour and a half session. You see the tape on lying that I ran around yesterday? That I saw the interview with the woman who deciphers who's lying and how they're lying. I just found myself doing something that means I'm lying, but I'm not lying. I didn't think I was lying. I caught myself just there. I said, wait a minute, that is the truth. But I did one of those things that you do when you're fibbing. I like fib. Does anybody ever fib anymore? Or are they just all full of shit? Nobody fibs. I think the whole thing with what's going on in politics right now is so avoidable. We don't have to do this, Nobody has to vote. You don't have to vote, but nobody wants to say that. Everybody wants to vote, so they promote it because they want to be able to go there and then argue about the counting of it. And then when you win the popular vote, they got this other college of graduates. I don't know who's in that college, the board of colleges that determines who's going to be president, even when you have the popular vote and they determine that the state was imbalanced and what you really meant to say. Is that what the college is for? I know he won or she won, but here's what they really want to say. So the Correctional Institute, the board of elections, election board. Well, I am bored. I'm bored all the time with elections. I should be the chairperson. No, I want to be on that other committee, the one in New York. That's the one that heads resentments. because I could really handle complaints. Well, my hearing's going, so I don't hear a damn thing. that's, that's that's how you handle complaints. You know, you get one of those jobs and you don't put that AirPods in there, you don't hear a damn thing. I do that on a flight, so I don't have to listen to the people next to me or breathe on them without masks. That's another thing, you know. You're sitting next to somebody, you don't know who's carrying disease. Somebody said that this last trip of the virus was spreading around airplanes. That's why the fares are $49 one way. It's the road. It's the highway to hell. But they're not paying people the way they used to. And you know, what's that song? You know, they're not writing songs of love anymore. And that's because there's so very little of it. You know, I mean, love still. There's a blooming period. You know, the first teenage years. You know, I gave myself a hickey so I would be popular. And you know, when you are a young person and you feel someone's chemistry, they call it, and you have that drop dopamine. Boy, the word dope is in there. And then you all of a sudden you know that you're attracted to someone, and the other person's attracted to you, and you start making out. And that's not a good thing when you're living with your parents. That's not the place to do this, you know. Or in the car, or on a motorcycle. That's a tough one. You know, I think that my first days were in the basement of my house, where everybody had gathered. We didn't smoke weed yet, but we didn't know about it yet. It didn't come out yet. This is the 50s. The 60s got a little bit wiser with the Beatles and the English influence, you know, the Brits. They brought us this culture. We started to drop acid with Allen Ginsberg. Remember him? The guy that was talking about drugs being useful so that your head expands. Well, it did. I became the #1 disc jockey in America, and my head got this big. Emotionally. No, so Allen Ginsberg, and who's the other guy? There was another one of these guys. And then we had Woodstock, where you couldn't find a toilet. We were stuck there for 3 days on the farm, and they had some potties, but you made it there on the floor. Who was it that yesterday? Who's that tennis star? What's her name again? Venice. What's her name again? You know, the one who's very famous. Just Selena or whatever her name is. She quit yesterday, being the world's #1 tennis player, but she stopped for a while to go and make potty. You got to pee when you're doing that when you get older. You know, that's not a good thing to be when you're in the middle of a match. You know, that's not a love match. The love match you have is with the turlet. Yeah, you know, you don't want to do that. But she had to leave. She said, "Oh, it's not #2. It was a #1." Oh, thank you for reporting that. What's her name again? So we got, you know, I know you're answering this saying, he doesn't know anything. See, what you got to do when you're a talk show host, you got to pretend you don't know something and let the audience answer. But you know, this is a monologue, and you don't have any, there's no space. You have to text me, and I don't take texts from strangers. I don't need food that you send me either, but I do have this cheesecake that I'm selling. On September 15, you can buy the Joey Reynolds cheesecake. I saw where Oprah threw her cake out. She had some cake from Gayle King. She threw it out. But she would never do that with my cheesecake, because my cheesecake is, you can freeze it, you can use it as a doorstop. It lasts forever. I'm doing a commercial. That's what this is intended for. Howard Stern took my cheesecake and he handed it to his producer. He didn't even want to taste it because he was afraid I would poison him, which was the sentiment of a lot of people. So, you know, that's online. You know, you can watch that thing where Howard talks about it on his Sirius XM show. So that's it. I got nothing more here. I'm tapped out because I've revealed too much to this audience. You know, you gossip too much and you're annoying me. This is, can you imagine? We rate the audience. The audience doesn't rate us. I rate you. Social networking sucks. Why? Because it's people who are gossiping about something they heard from somewhere else who is not a reliable source. So if you got it from me, you can go to the social network and you'll be right on target. I never say anything that's not truthful. It's a Reynolds rap.